One more time. Bam! Bait of the day. Rattle trap ghost minnow. These are getting kind of hard to find, but they still make them. It's getting kind of hard to find. Ain't she a beaut? Now if it's like really clear water and I'm burning a rattle trap, that's the kind of colors I go to. We're going to try some of these today, folks. Are you ready to run and gun? It's time for blast off. Let's go. Hey guys, Todd here. Welcome back to Bassin 101. I am going to try my best to do this without hooking myself. Lipless crankbaits. Wow. That's a huge category. But I've been able to narrow it down to a pretty good select few to kind of help you guys out a little bit. Don't have any samples with me. They're all packed away in my storage unit out here behind the house with all the rest of the baits that I got sitting out there. So it's in the 20s. I ain't going out there digging around trying to find that stuff. But I will definitely post pictures on here for you so you can kind of get an idea what's going on. Lipless crankbaits. Man, there's that's a huge conglomerate as far as types of baits. A lot of it comes down to manufacturers, materials, because there's some made of wood, but the ones that are made of wood are pretty much custom made stuff. But I have to admit, a wooden lipless crankbait's pretty cool. I've made my share over the years, little prototypes and stuff like that. Probably the number one bait all across the country as far as lipless crankbaits, the rattle trap. Why? Don't know. There's just something about it, just something about that sound that just catches fish continually for everybody. I mean, that's why these are still number one. But there's other good ones too. What you have to remember with lipless crankbaits, some sink slower, some sink faster, some have bigger profiles and lighter in weight. Some are smaller profiles and heavier in weight. I mean, I got a box out there. I'll put a picture of it here, kind of give you an idea. It used to be arranged pretty good at one time until you start digging through things, and you guys know how that is. But man, I got all different kinds of stuff in there. But I try to keep it simple as far as, with single knockers and everything else. In this particular box, I have, of course, they're long discontinued, but I have Head and Bio Boogies, which is a 1/4 ounce, and man, those things are deadly. They have a slow sink and a very high-pitched kind of knock to them. Another knocker, which is really good, that I've caught a few bass on. I like the color schemes they have them in, is a Storm Arashi Vibe. That's a great clear water type of lipless crankbait because it's not huge as far as noise, and I kind of like that. And it has about the same 3-inch profile as a rattle trap does. You've got Lucky Crafts with the LV500s. You got the LV100s, which have come back out, which is a little small package and almost a 1/2 ounce size. So yeah, that thing just goes. Of course, so does the LV500s. That's a 3/4 ounce. Rattle traps, you've got 1/8 ounce, 1/4 ounce, 1/2 ounce, 3/4, 1 ounce, 1.5. I mean, it's just crazy. If you're just a lipless crankbait fisherman, you're going to have a lot of stuff. I'm going to tell you right now. But part of Simplify Your Fishing is I'm going to try to help you out. Colors, Well, from what I've chosen so far, um, is kind of a conglomerate of things. I mean, I'm still trying to go through stuff and, simplify your fishing. You're trying to figure out what do you throw the best, what do you throw with the most confidence and everything. And of course, I have chosen rattle traps, just because I can get them in a couple different sizes, different types, and I can keep my colors basic and cover any situation I come across. I'll give you an example of what I've been choosing. This is not to say these are finalized, but there's just certain things going on with them. First off, if you've got to go small, I've got the 1/4 ounce. And that's the chartreuse shad, chrome blue back. Chrome blue back, is there any other color? But that's my 1/4 ounce. The chartreuse is just for if they're not hitting this. That's really all it is, because you're not going to throw this in muddy water. It's too small. I'm not saying you won't catch anything, but this is not going to be my choice. Another one, which this was on the bait of the day, the floating rattle trap. 2 different colors. The orange belly kind of helps out with a little bit of stain in the water. But those are my floaters. And these make good top waters too. Also really good jerk baits. And they're not quite as loud. They have more of a knock. The reason is because the weight system's not in there. That will change the pitch of the chambers. But those are floaters. Now, as far as shad patterns, what I try to do is I try to keep about 3 colors of all 3 categories between my chartreuses, which are basically chartreuse or some kind of a bluegill pattern, perch pattern, shads, and then crawfish. And that's as far as I keep it. Like I said, if I'm fishing really clear water, that ghost minnow good. Standard chrome blue back with a worn out nose. Chrome blue back's good. And if you've got cloudy days, we have a cloudy day today, or if it's raining or something like that, a Silverado or a silver shad is really good. So here's your 3 shad colors. And they're all different. They're all shaded differently. And so that to me is what you're trying to go for. You're going for shading, because I'm going to tell you right now, I'll hold these 2 up. Ghost minnow and Silverado. If you hold them side by side, they look the same. But if you hold them out here, the Silverado actually has a slightly bigger profile look to it because it's a solid color. Now, the chartreuses, as I was saying, you can't go wrong with the old classic chartreuse black back orange belly. It's standard, stained water kind of color. Another one I like a lot too, and I'm glad they brought it back out. I think it's called Spring Brim, but I just like it because it's a chartreuse and white, bit of a gray back, and it's more of a natural shad pattern. I like that for if they're quite not hitting the shads, I can probably get them with this. And then the third is a newer color they just come out with, which is a hologram kind of bluegill color. And these are the 3. Now, granted, this is not chartreuse or anything, but in the springtime, or if you're fishing ponds or anything like that, that's a good color to keep on you because it's translucent. It's not bold. It's kind of finessey, but it has enough sheen to it where that can work in stained water if you've got a bright sunny day. And then last but not least, you've got your crankbaits. Now, just about everybody throws natural brown crawfish. I mean, that's just a standard pattern that's been around forever and a day. But I like some of the old classic stuff too, especially early in the spring, late in the winter. Can't go wrong with red. This is the old school red brown back coach dog. That's been around since they first started, probably. I know it's been around since at least the 70s, because I've seen pictures of them. And then, again, last but not least, the latest color they've come out with, which I love it, especially for summertime, you got the green pumpkin crawl. That's a bad little dude right there. I love that color. That is really, really cool. But these are the 3 colors for crawfish. Keeping it very simple, guys. Very simple. Now, as far as colors go, we're good there. what about different types of lipless crankbaits? Well, I could sit here for hours and hours and hours and discuss all of them, dig them out of the box, and do this, that, and the other. Because Mega Bass has good stuff. Duo Realis has good stuff. All that Japanese stuff is really good. Very well designed, tested, and everything. I'm just kind of more of an old school guy. And believe it or not, if you go Lucky Craft LV500s, you're borderlining old school right there, because they came out around 2000, 99, 2000. So they've been around a while, but they're still selling. Why? They catch fish. Personally, because I've actually used this kind of setup before, and it worked really well for me. I would say if you really had to simplify things, really get it down to the nitty gritty, and pick, let's say, 3 lipless crankbaits is going to do everything that you need to do, I would stick with the 3-inch. The rattle trap would be the overall Bulldog lipless crankbait, because you can actually keep that thing down and fish that 3 to 8 to 10 foot zone pretty good and still keep it moving along pretty good. But there's a trick. The exact same size lure that I'm sure a lot of you guys might have forgotten about, they still make them, is the Cotton Cordell Super Spot. All right, there are Cordell Spots from the old days. There are the Spot from the old days. I'm talking today's series, which is called the Super Spot. And the reason I'm saying that is because it's designed a little bit different, with a little bit of a belly to it. But what's cool about it is it sinks slower than a rattle trap. And it's also a little bit wider. You can slow crank that thing a lot better, and it'll still come through the water. But when you stop it, it sinks about that fast. Rattle trap, it sinks a lot faster. So you can fish a trap deeper. If you're fishing, say, 2 to 3 foot of water, you're around cover, or you're around rock or something like that, man, try the Super Spot. I'm telling you, because it's only like a $4 lure, and they catch fish. All you have to do is upgrade the hooks. Who doesn't do that anyway? So, got those 2 covered. The third one is the LV500 from Lucky Craft. The reason I say that, I'm not a jigging guy. Like you see on Tactical Bassin, they're using LV500s and jigging them off the bottom all the time anyway. I mean, my plug knocker would stay in the water if I did that, because I'm just clumsy. I'm accident prone. If there's one little beef stick up down there, I'm going to find it on the very first cast. I'll be like, that's just me. So, to me, the LV500 is if I'm really wanting to smoke that dude, but I want to keep it down. Or if I'm fishing, say, a bluff ledge, and I'm kind of wanting to worm it down the bluff, but still keeping it moving. I just want to tick the bluff, maybe pause it and tick the bluff. It's a lot easier to keep up with than, say, a half-ounce trap. So those are the 3 baits that I have narrowed down to. If I had to have, say, if I was fishing nothing but lipless crankbaits, then I would choose those 3, same size, same profile, 3 different sounds, 3 different sink rates, definitely 3 different actions. And I keep my colors kind of about like what I got right here, which would give you pretty good size box. But at least it's, it's that. And honestly, if I had to add 1 extra bait that still has the same size profile, definitely Storm or Rashy Vibe, just because it's a quieter bait, and they have more translucent type finishes to them, so they're more of a clear water bait. But they do have a couple of crawl patterns, stuff like that. I've got like tons of different colors of them, and naturally, I'm a bass fisherman. Of course, I got a bunch of them, just like you do. So maybe that would be added as a 4th option. To keep the noise down, keep it kind of quiet. As far as pound test, that's up to you. I still, if you go back to my fishing line video I did, I said if I had one line to fish the rest of my life, it'd be Trilene XT Green 14-pound test. I'd throw all these on that. No problem. But throw what you like. Okay? Use a line you like. That's what this whole thing's about. You got to have confidence in what you're doing. I'm not going to be like everybody else on other channels and tell you this is the line you use for this, because they're not you. They definitely ain't me. I tend to, I don't mind kind of mixing my old school with my new school stuff, kind of blending them together a little bit. As far as combos, that's a whole other issue too. That's going to be the next video. Because really, to be honest with you, skinny crankbaits, fat crankbaits, lipless crankbaits, I mean, that's really as far as you can go as far as today. You know, there's other baits that I can cover to tell you how to fish, but man, I'll be going back 30 years, and those baits aren't even available anymore. So, you know, if you want to see something like that, I can probably send some to Chris at Retro Bassin, and he can do some videos and show you some of that stuff. Or maybe, you know, when I get back out on the water, I can probably do some videos on, you know, just for fun, showing some old stuff, because, you know, one of my favorite crankbaits of all time is a Post Nervous Miracle, which they're long gone. But I modify them so I can get several different actions out of one bait, and they're pretty bad. They really are. But they're getting hard to find, and I've messed around trying to make my own. But regardless, that's all I got for lipless crankbaits. I mean, I'm not going to go into severe detail with these things because there's really no need to, because everybody has their own opinions of it. If you want a complete, like, just nerdy tutorial about the whole entire thing, definitely check out Technical Bassin. Those guys are geeks when it comes to tackle, and they always stay on top of what's out there, what's new and everything. And if that's the kind of thing that you like, as far as the new stuff, and you want to spend the money on it, definitely check out their deals. All I'm trying to do here is just simplify it for you. You know, I mean, they can simplify it too, but good grief, you gotta have two boats to carry their simplification. I don't blame them. There's a lot of good stuff out there, man. I just keep it simple. Like I said, you know, rattle trap to me, you know, is just a staple. I've caught more bass off rattle traps than I have anything else, hands down. There's, you know, I don't care if it's a quarter. I don't care if it's a floating. I haven't done much with the 3/4 or the 1 ounces because I really just don't have situations where I get into that, because I'm really not a heavy bait thrower. I just, you know, this is 1/2 ounce, and for a crankbait, that's pretty good for me. I might do a 3/8 or something like that. I mean, a 5/8 or maybe even a 3/4, but that's very rare that I ever do something like that. So anyway, I hope this helps you guys. I hope I kept it simple enough. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of baits out there, and I'll try to find some pictures and kind of give you an idea what's what. And, you know, if you're not that familiar with some of the stuff that I've mentioned. And until next time, tight lines to you guys. I hope the Father blesses you and keep you in Yeshua's name. And as always, fish on.